South African electoral politics has become almost as unpredictable as an Arsenal defence, if truth be told, and it pains me to say that. But so far as our democracy is concerned, I think it's a good thing. It shows a fluidity of voting patterns that we've never seen before. So it's less predictable and less certain. However, if we'd been standing here 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we'd have said, look, that appears to be heading towards 60% for the ANC. I don't think it'll reach that this time because KZN still got to come in, and KZN is divided. 22% of the ANC's vote came from KZN last time. That's not going to happen this time. The Zuma crowd have tightened that supply line. So I think we're looking at 57, 58%. That would be a victory for Ramaphosa and for the country.
What does that mean for market participants who are hoping for a much stronger mandate, considering that Cyril Ramaphosa does not enjoy a strong mandate within his own party?
They want to see him being able to cast off the shackles of his own party. They want an electoral result that will give him more, not less, political space to maneuver within his own party. My view is that anything above 56% is a victory for the ANC because the last 4 elections they've been going steadily down. 56 is par. Above 56 is above par, and Ramaphosa will be able to claim it as his victory because he's been more trusted than his own party in this campaign.
But we're talking Zuma par in terms of 50, 56. You know, what about the Mbeki days of the, 62?
Those are long gone.
Uh-huh.
Our electoral landscape has changed significantly. We're becoming normal. It wasn't normal for a political party to get 5 times above 62%. And they've had a bad run. The last 10 years have been difficult. We've had rampant corruption, a sluggish economy, a fiscal crunch. These are ideal conditions for the opposition, and yet the ANC is going to retain power, but with a reduced, normalised mandate, I would say.
That vote is getting spread more evenly this election than any other before. But I would like to extrapolate some of the talking points here. Freedom Front Plus. Surely it's got to be a surprise. I mean, since 1994, smaller political parties have been losing votes hand over fist. Here we are. Here they are. Yes. Has the Freedom Front Plus been able to move DA voters to the radical right, as it were?
Well, I think the DA has bled votes from its right flank, from voters who no longer felt confident that the DA was going to stand up for the things that mattered most to it, particularly land and land reform. So although Mamani has been pretty clear on the issue, I think the problem is that they've tried to be all things to all men and all women. And they've diffused their offering. They haven't been able to offer a clearly defined, sharply focused value proposition in this election. And if anything, I think the DA may go backwards. Mamani's leadership is bound to be questioned, but I think deeper than that, the DA is going to have to ask itself some existential questions. What sort of party is it? What does it really stand for?
What's the future after Maimani? Too many questions. But another one, of course, as we continue to look at the board, Patricia de Lille and her good party. They turned out to be good enough. I mean, they've collected quite a lot of votes, but mostly concentrated around the Western Cape. Are you surprised at all by Patricia de Lille, and has she also ate into the big boys' lunch, as it were?
De Lille is a very popular politician in the Western Cape, and she has a track record of integrity, a track record of hard work. So it's no surprise to me that she has done reasonably well there and created a little platform for herself. She's called her new party the Good Party. The truth is, in terms of real motive, I've been joking that it should have been named the Revenge Party, because the truth is she was out for revenge over the DA, who handled her situation so badly and cast her out of the party. That is clearly going to cost the DA some votes in the Western Cape.
Generally, there was an expectance, if you will, especially once you add the fact that we had, for the first time ever, 48 political parties vying for this, that the ANC's vote might be diluted, therefore paving the way for the coalition of the smaller opposition parties, as it were. Essentially, there's a lot of parties that are going to come out of this election with little to no significance worth of margins. But if you combine all of those things, they can move the envelope. Do you perhaps see the coalition of the unwilling, as it would be?
I don't think the smaller parties have done well enough to achieve that. In the Western Cape, it looks like the DA will hold on to its majority. The interesting place in terms of coalition politics is going to be here in the Gauteng province, the economic heartland of the country. It's a reasonable prospect, I think, that the ANC will lose its majority, 53% in the last national and provincial elections in 2014, and they will have to cobble together some kind of coalition. The chances are they will only be able to get over the line with a deal with either the DA or the EFF. They face a really tough strategic dilemma over which to go with.
Prof, essentially, regardless of the number that the ANC is able to achieve, Cyril Ramaphosa is under obligation to come out and celebrate that as a victory for his mandate. The question, though, remains. Cyril Ramaphosa has to essentially do the hardest job of them all. He has to almost win good favor that's been ruined by his party and bring it back into the fold. Why does anyone want this dog's breakfast of a job? I mean, really, why does he? Is he the man to even deliver this thing? Isn't he just setting himself up for failure?
It's a hugely difficult challenge. Every direction he looks. What he's got to hope is what I call his Monday job gets easier as a result of this election. His Monday job is that he spends most Mondays at Letlhatlha House as the ANC president. He's got to find that work easier. It's been a drag factor this last year. Despite that, he has built a platform for reform and for progress. What this election result has to do is to turn that into a springboard for structural reform that will be sufficiently convincing to the market to bring investors back to South Africa.
My final hypothetical. We are here right now. The process of making sure that we can verify the votes here by the IEC is being called into question by the parties that are here. There are all kinds of allegations, and who is favored by those irregularities? Is this ratings neutral, negative, positive for South Africa? Well, how do you think Moody's is looking at the whole situation?
I think Moody's would probably, like I do, think that it's likely that there's been some weakening of the institutional capacity of the IEC in the last few years, along with many other institutions. There isn't enough evidence to have grave concern. I talk to international observers here who have observed many elections around the world, and they seem pretty calm and pretty relaxed about it. They regard the discrepancies, such as there are, as being of a modest variety. So I don't think it's anything to get unduly concerned about at this point, although more evidence could yet emerge, of course.
Just for my homework, as we head towards the day when these results are verified and announced, what would you be looking for? What are the things that you'll be looking at as telltale signs of where we are now?
Well, the first thing is I want to see a good result for Ramaphosa. I think the ANC needs 57, 58 or above. That's a good result for him. It gives him more space to maneuver. It's good news for his reform agenda, good news for the economy and for investment. For me, the relationship between the ANC line and the EFF line is the crucial one. The EFF have been going up since they launched in 2014. The ANC has been going down for 5 elections. If Ramaphosa turns it upwards, 57, 58, and the EFF stays at sort of 10, then the lines are not converging. If they are converging, the long-term political risk is a worry factor for the longer term, something for people to be, I think, reasonably concerned about.